everybody. This is me, Amin.
And it's Alex.
And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. And in this episode, it's 5G, 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 and 5G. So today is the 3rd of November, Thursday, 3rd of November. And there has been like really interesting developments of 5G in the country. And within this week, 5 telcos have signed the all-important access agreement with DNB. So that means these 5 telcos can now provide 5G services to their customers in Malaysia. So Alex has been following the news very closely. As you know, we track 5G development on SoyChincau.com extensively and comprehensively. So I want to check with him on what does this mean to Malaysians, and if there are any major changes to what's going on with 5G in Malaysia.
Okay, I think I want to start off first, just a little recap of what's happening so far. So there's 2 parts of this whole 5G stalemate that we've been covering for the past few months or the past year. So the first one was the share subscription agreement about taking a share in DNB, because Ministry of Finance offered like a 70% stake to the telcos. And on 7th of October, 4 telcos have signed up to invest in DNB. So we have Celcom and DG combined taking about 25% stake, 12.5% each. So because
50%.
Both are combining, so they're going to get 25% stake. And then you have Telecom Malaysia and YTL taking 20% stake each. So in total, these 4 telcos are taking 65% stake. And the Ministry of Finance will take the remaining 35% stake and a golden share. So as part of this share subscription agreement, which they actually signed, is actually a conditional share subscription agreement. So there's a lot of terms. Okay, we're going to buy a stake in DNB, and there's a few conditions that needs to be met. And one of it is the access agreement. So access agreement is an actual agreement that allows the telcos to get access to DNB's network, and they can sell your 5G services to consumers like you and me. And that was due on the 30th of October. So everyone's wondering, okay, will the telco sign eventually? Because that's the final deadline. And our finance minister, Tengku Zafrul, went out and said, all telcos have signed the access agreement like in early October, when none of them have reported it. And we call it out like, hey, nobody announced it. Like, how is this true? So on 30th of October, the last day, 5 telcos have signed the access agreement. So we have Celcom, DG, Unify Mobile, which is TM, U Mobile, and YTL Communications. And the only one they didn't sign is Maxis. So with this access agreement, which means that they can now get access to network and sell. And here's the thing, one of the biggest concerns that most telcos had before that, including the big 4, they raised concerns about the pricing, because the cost, they were saying, that's too high.
And it's locked for 10 years.
It's locked for 10 years. And the cost was 30,000 ringgit per gigabits per second per month, locked for 10 years. And then, of course, people were saying that, how could this ensure affordability for the rakyat? Because as we all know, data consumption increases on an annual basis. Our appetite gets bigger and bigger. And of course, if you look at 4G and other previous generation, as time goes, the cost of data should go down. Consumption increase, cost go down. Like 1 gig of data used to cost like 30 ringgit. Now it's like 1 ringgit or less per gigabyte. So there's no cost reduction for 5G. So eventually they signed, and then we wondered, so did they reprice the price? Guess what? The reference access offer, which determines the terms and the pricing, was not changed. It's still the same price. But what these telcos have signed, right, is that, okay, we're going to sign this, and they're not going to pay DNB for access until 31st December. And it was mentioned that, this access offer will be revised later. So essentially, they signed it. Okay, we sign first and we talk about the price later.
So the reference access offer is separate from the access agreement.
It's actually like the biggest terms, like the SLA, the deliverables, and also the pricing.
And the pricing, right?
Yes, pricing. So that's tied together.
And then you have finally the permission to access, which is the access agreement.
Yes, correct.
So earlier they signed the reference access.
No, they didn't sign that. So
they haven't signed that yet.
Yeah, they basically signed basically just like a letter offer lah. And so you have 2 parts. You have the share subscription agreement. It's basically the agreement to take a stake in DNB. Which U Mobile and Maxis want to participate. They said they don't see the point of being a minority shareholder, but they still can get access, because DNB has clarified that you can still access DNB network
without being a shareholder.
But of course, they probably lose out in certain benefits lah.
I don't know what the benefits are, because the Minister of Finance, despite holding a minority share, has a golden share, which means
they call the shots.
Yeah. they still decide what happens. So the biggest point of contention during our discussions earlier about 5G was the pricing.
Yep.
I think that's the main reason why telcos have not signed.
Yep.
What's interesting is that has not changed, and despite that, telcos have signed.
Yep.
So we have numerous theories about this, but I think the number one or the primary factor that has kind of influenced these telcos to sign is the upcoming election.
That's one
of the theories.
Yes.
It's primary reason. I mean, we don't have concrete proof, but it's funny that things are moving really quickly closer to the date of the election, which is 19th of November.
Yep. Everyone's rushing for that.
But that's not the point of the show. We're not talking about politics and whatever, but we're talking about government policies and how it affects technology in the country. One of the big issue about government policies is that the single wholesale network, where I think you and I were still skeptic on whether the deployment of 5G networks via a single wholesale vehicle is something that is prudent, is something that's going to work. We've highlighted a number of case studies in various countries where it doesn't work.
Yep, it failed.
And where it failed miserably, and where government has to bail out the companies that try to run the single wholesale network. So two things can happen. Malaysia could be a symbol of success in the way that 5G networks are deployed in the world, or we could join the other countries and networks that have failed in deploying single wholesale network. The current government is adamant that this is the best way to go.
Yep.
The current government is pushing, twisting arms, dealing with telcos or coercing telcos to sign really quickly. I know for a fact, I mean, we talk to telco insiders a lot, that a number of telcos are kind of reluctant to sign because, number one, it's a single wholesale network. Number two, because of the pricing structure that's locked for 10 years. That's still lingered. That huge dark cloud is still lingering. That has not changed. But now, the people, the public, the consumers who are on Celcom, DG, U Mobile, Unify, and can now access 5G.
Yep.
So what do I need to do to access 5G? I don't know whether that's something people are excited about. So if you are, let us know in the comment section below whether 5G is important to you, whether you are already trying 5G and whether it makes a difference. And yeah, let's get back to the question. So now that the 5 telcos can offer 5G services, what can we expect?
Okay, so at the moment, as of 3rd of November, 4 telcos are offering 5G on prepaid and postpaid. So YTL Communications, CS 5G, they were first to offer 5G since December last year. So you still have your prepaid plan, which I think is still the best bang for buck if you're looking for 5G only.
Yep.
So that offers unlimited data, unlimited calls for 30 ringgit a month on prepaid. And then you have postpaid. So they also have these infinite plans, unlimited 4G and 5G with no FUP. That's the main promise. No FUP from 58 ringgit a month.
No data and speed cap.
Yes.
Right?
No FUP.
So, because right now, telcos, you can opt for either or. You can have unlimited data but a speed cap, or limited data but no speed cap.
Yes.
So on Infinite, it's unlimited everything.
Yes. The only thing that's limiting is the hotspot. So the cheapest option, 58 ringgit, gets 10 GB hotspot. The next step, I think, is 88 ringgit with like 40 GB hotspot.
I think 10 gigs of tethering data is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So, but for me, I think still bang of a buck is still the prepaid 30 ringgit because you get unlimited everything, including hotspot. Yeah,
the only caveat is 5G coverage.
Yes,
so
correct.
Yes runs 100% 4G on their network. So they've built their network on 4G.
Yep.
I think they have quite good coverage, but not as extensive as Celcom or Maxis.
Yep.
And the thing is, with 5G, the network coverage is common across all telcos because they're sharing that network.
Yes, exactly.
So it's apparently 32% of the population?
Right now it's 33.2% of the population. That's what DNB claims.
What about the other telcos? So you were saying yes, and then after that, so that's the most bang for the buck.
Yeah, and they're of course, I think I would say among all telcos, they're the most optimized because they have been running since December, right? So everything they have the most supported devices. Yep. I think their network's the most optimized in terms of 5G because the rest, they just signed recently. So I think they just quite rushed.
Okay, so for the layman, right? I mean, if I were to simplify this, it's like, okay, everybody can access the network.
Yep.
So, and everybody has the same phone, right? Everybody has an iPhone or a Samsung or whatever that can access 5G. What do you mean by yes is more optimized and the others are not? So let's say if I'm on a Celcom, for example, am I running the risk of accessing the same network but having lower speeds or not being able to access the network at all?
Potentially, because when you hook up to DNB network, there's a lot of optimization needs to be done. Because here's my experience from December when Yes first started. The first month using Yes 5G, there was a lot of issue. It's very patchy. That's coverage. Another one is the switching between 4G and 5G wasn't that smooth. That was the biggest issue. Like sometimes I need to turn airplane mode on and off to make sure it works. And then some of these issues are resolved through like firmware updates from devices or device manufacturers, and that was eventually resolved. So that's what I meant by optimization.
When you say firmware updates, does the telco have to tell the manufacturer that they have to update the firmware to? I mean, what's going on here? Like, who decides what? Like, okay, so let's say I'm on Celcom. My Galaxy Fold 2 I can't access 5G, but my wife's S22 Ultra can, and we checked on the Celcom's website on compatibility. They have leased devices, right? So what do I do? Do I like tell? Do I tell Celcom and say, hey, my device is not supported, or do I wait? And if I wait, how long do I need to wait to be able to access 5G?
Well, it all depends though, because from my experience, like when Yes launched in December last year, right? None of the Samsung and Apple devices were supported. So you want to use 5G back then, the only way to use is Chinese phones like Xiaomi, your Realme, Huawei's, because I think most of these devices, right, as long as you can connect to the network, the band, right, it will work. But so for some strange reason, I think probably Samsung did it intentionally and Apple is that the device manufacturers actually control the connectivity. Like for example, Samsung. So initially when I was using my Samsung S10, sorry, S21, I couldn't get into the 5G network. It just couldn't recognize. There's no way. You restart phone, whatever, it doesn't work, even though you have the right SIM card. And despite being certified by SIRIM, because all devices in Malaysia, if they support 5G bands, they were certified by SIRIM since 2020. I think the first device was the Mate 30 Pro. So your phone can support even the iPhones. So the only thing that's limiting is the software updates. So I think after a few months later, Samsung actually pushed software updates with their phone, and eventually you can access Yes 5G. But what we noticed is that when other telcos start rolling out 5G, like Unified Mobile and Celcom, when you use the same phone, it couldn't connect, and it's not supported in the devices. And here's the thing: there's a lot of misconception that DNB certified device. That's not true. Actually, I don't know why DNB want to put a device list, because that's not their responsibility.
Yeah, that's not their job.
Yeah, because certifications done by SIRIM, the firmware updates, whatever, is between the telcos and the device manufacturer.
But I just want to make it clear. It's not like we're in certain countries where the telcos, because they have so much volume, so many customers, that they can tell the operator, they can tell the manufacturer, oh, can you put certain software in my phone? And that phone is usually SIM locked. That means if I use SIM A on this phone, I bought this phone from telco A, I cannot use it on telco B. In Malaysia, that doesn't happen. We don't have the volume, and I think operators are not telling manufacturers to install specific apps in their phones, right? That doesn't happen.
It's not US, like you have the special Verizon or Sprint phones, right? With preloaded software. It's not different.
But still, this firmware updates are important. So it's just a matter of
recognizing
I guess like
the
a
network.
handshake thing going on, where the telco says, okay, you know what, we've tested on our phones and it works. Okay, Samsung, can you just release an update to allow Celcom to access the network?
Yes, on the file.
Despite everything being the same, right? Celcom is accessing the same network. DG is accessing the same network, and it's on the same devices. It's just a matter of, like you're saying, the theory is the device manufacturer. In this case, it's Apple and Samsung being bitchy about it. It's like, hey, you got to pay us some money to allow our devices to access your 5G network, despite the back end being the same.
Speaking about money, Samsung I think is not much of a big challenge. I think they can be done very quickly. I think they just need to make sure that the devices work properly, and then Samsung push an update in. Make sure the phone works. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because on YTL, right, Yes 5G, right, it supports most of the Samsung phones. Your Z4, Z Flips, your S22, S21, S20 FEs, even the Galaxy A series, like A53, A73, those work on Yes 5G. But not on Samsung, not on Unified Mobile, not on U Mobile, not on Celcom, because it's not even listed there. If you compare the device list, right, you can see the list is totally different from each telco. So it's between the telco and the device manufacturer. Going back to Apple, I think that's one of the biggest contentious points, because people say, hey, the iPhone 12 and above can support 5G, but why can't use it here? So that was the biggest issue when Yes first launched. And the reason why Yes couldn't offer 5G on iPhones because Apple has this thing, right? They only offer specific services to their Apple partner telcos. Like, for example, you want to use Wi-Fi calling, you want to use FaceTime and all that stuff, right? They only give it to the partner telcos. Partner telcos is basically the telcos that actually offer...
That sell the phones.
Yes, on contract.
Yep.
So in Malaysia, there's only 4 telcos. There's Celcom, Digi, Maxis, and U-Mobile. Yes, isn't part of it.
Yep.
Unified Mobile isn't part of it. That's the reason why even 4G, right, you can get the full suite of services. You can get voice over LTE, you can get Wi-Fi calling on Apple device. That's why you see those telcos, they don't really recommend you get iPhone.
I mean, you're talking about the ones that are not partner telcos.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so just to recap on that, although the 5G network is available, and if you are on a telco that has a 5G network, your mileage may vary. You gotta constantly check the device compatibility list that's available on I think all of the telco website. You can also check updates on soychinsha.com. Now the next question is if I'm on a 5G phone and my 5G phone can access a 5G network and from my telco, do I have to pay extra to access 5G?
Right now it's basically free as long as you have the right plans, because most of the telcos, they enable 5G for selected plans. Like for example on Unify, let's start with Unify. Unify Mobile, if you're on the unlimited postpaid, the ultimate plan, which is now going for like 79 ringgit a month or 59 ringgit a month if you go for contract, that can access 5G. On prepaid, the Unify Bebas plan, the one with which the credit will never die, that's one I keep using. So if you buy the monthly pass, the 35 ringgit monthly pass, which give you unlimited LTE, after you purchase that pass, they give you an option to buy
and add on
for free 5G pass.
So it's add on for free, but you gotta activate that add on.
Yes,
It's because the system is configured in a way that later they can just put a price. So they're just, I guess, testing that. Okay, if you are on prepaid and you want to try 5G, just
buy this pass first.
Activate the add on, but it's free. And you can access 5G.
So that's 35 ringgit a month.
On Celcom?
So Celcom, Celcom is different. So unlike Yes and Unify Mobile, where they offer unlimited 5G, Celcom's only enabling 5G for their high-speed data plans. Plans that have fixed quota. So this includes Celcom Mega 80 to Mega 80 Lightning, 80 to 188. So those plans have fixed quota, like I think like 50, 60 gigs, depending which plan you're on. So if you use 5G, it just uses your existing quota.
Okay. Here's the thing that we've been discussing, right? So 5G right now from DNB, so the supplier that supplies 5G and the data that comes with the 5G network is supplying to the telcos for free.
Until 31st December.
Until 31st December. So basically 2 months free.
So free flow, you can just use as much as you want.
Now, you mentioned in Celcom, my data utilization on 5G, despite it being provided free from the telco, from the network provider, from the supplier, is deducted.
Yes.
Isn't that wrong? It's like, okay, you give me something free, I take it and I sell it out.
In a way, that's the thing we're talking about. Like, but shouldn't it be free, right? But in fact, you're using the quota, so which means that, okay, let's say if a customer, right? Okay, I have a plan with 20 gigs of data. If I'm a normal customer on 4G, I use 20 gig of data from your network, fair.
That's
I
fine.
pay.
Because that's your infra.
Yes.
You've paid for that upfront. And it's fair.
I use your network, so I pay for the service that rendered from your network. But if I'm on 5G, which is supplied by someone else, and they're offering for free, why deducting the quota? Which means that you're monetizing whatever that you're getting for free.
Yes.
So in a way, yes, they are making money from the free access.
And the only operator that's doing this right now is Celcom.
And also U-Mobile.
And what does DNB have to say about it?
So reach out to DNB. So they don't want to discuss about this. So essentially they say that that's a conversation between the telco and the customer. So basically it's that the telco sign. So what DNB is committed to do is I give you the access to a network, and right now it's free until 31st December, end of story. So what you do with it is up to the telcos.
I think DNB has taken the correct approach now, because I think the public and everybody else shouldn't expect DNB to be the police when it comes to things like this.
Correct.
I think they should have a free market as much as possible. And I think what they're doing is fine. It's like, okay, and then the consumer can think, hey, if your operator is charging you for utilization that's supposed to be free, then you need to consider looking at other operators. And I think that develops healthy competition and drives to make services better.
Yeah, and that's the question I posed to the MCMC chairman previously, Dr. Fazul. So I said, because usually government regulate the wholesale price,
Yep.
so that falls under the mandatory standard of access pricing. So I asked, will there be anything similar for consumers? So I said no, because for consumer pricing, right, it's going to be open market. You let the market forces decide. Because if it essentially with this single wholesale network, the idea is to remove infrastructure competition, have a level playing field, and let telcos compete on a retail level. So if you think you can offer better value, you can go for the telco with a better price.
Yep. Okay, so we covered the postpaid section of what Celcom is offering in terms of 5G. What about the prepaid customers?
Similar as well. It's only offered for the high-speed
higher tier plans.
the high-speed data plans.
Uh-huh.
So it's only available on the prepaid 35 and 45, but it's only for the high-speed data plan. So 35, I think, is like 30 gigs, and then 45 is 40 gigs. Because for the same price, you can go for the unlimited plan with the codes. So there's speed cap at 3 and 6 megabits. So you must only get it on high-speed plans. So here's another thing. And also another reminder for everyone out there who gets too excited about 5G, right? Because normally the first thing you do is
Speed test.
So, okay, knowing that these plans are not unlimited, right?
They don't know. Okay, yeah, but a lot of people don't think that speed test takes a lot of data.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's the misconception.
Yeah, because I think 4G, it wasn't that much, right? So you don't feel it. But for 5G, you need to be aware, because you run a speed test, right? If let's say you get like 1 gigabits per second, you're looking about close to 2 gigs for tests.
For
one
just
test.
for running the speed test.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because we did a test, and then we look at the usage. So we run Ookla speed test. You check the history of the results, so you can see how much data is consumed for downloads and uploads.
Yep.
So and then this morning I tried again, right? I managed to get like 1.4 gigabits per second download. And consume like almost 2.4 gigs for one test. So imagine you have like a 20 gig plan, right?
Yep.
You just run like 10 speed tests and you're done.
Yeah, you're done for the day.
Yes.
Yeah. So advice, if you are already accessing the 5G network and you want to show off your 5G speeds, right? The higher the speeds are, the more data is being consumed to test that speed, because the system is just pushing that data to get the response back.
Yeah, correct.
So try not to speed test so much if you're on 5G.
And that's not unlimited.
We talked about unlimited. So there's unlimited data but limited speed, and then unlimited speed but limited data. So if I'm on the unlimited data plan with limited speed and I do my speed test, I get the limited speed lah, right?
But so far now, all the 5G plans, they're all
unlimited.
No speed cap, because right now it's still like a trial period, it's free of charge. So
but they just take your data.
Yeah, they take your data.
Okay. All right. So then we move to
U Mobile. Yeah. So U Mobile is also similar to
Wait, hang on. I forgot to ask. For Celcom, right? Like, for Celcom prepaid, you mentioned like in Unify, if I'm on the Unify Bebas prepaid and I wanted to try 5G, I just need to add on that 35 ringgit, right?
Yep.
For Celcom prepaid, do I have to add on anything, or is it just automatically activated?
Automatically activate. You can access the 5G network. As long as you see the 5G symbol, it means you're on the network.
So no extra costs, but there will be extra in terms of data consumption. So just get ready for that. I mean, you will be automatically consuming more data on 5G.
Yeah, especially if you watch YouTube, I think your phone will automatically push the high resolution. Yeah, and if you run speed tests, you're going to consume much more data than before. Yeah.
Okay, so now we move to U Mobile.
Yeah. So U Mobile, similar to Celcom as well, they only offer on their high speed data plans. So it's on U38, 68, and 98 plans. So similar to Celcom. So if you got the right plan, you got the right coverage, the right device, you can start using immediately. No SIM change required. And then on prepaid, that's the sketchy part. So on prepaid, it's offered on the U25, U35 plan. These are the unlimited code plans, unlimited plans with speed cap. So the speed cap like 3 megabits, 6 megabits. So to access 5G, because what's the point of having 5G if it's speed cap, right? So to use 5G on these prepaid plans, right, you need to activate a speed booster, which you can only activate 1 hour per day.
Oh man.
Yeah, so which means in 24 hours, let's say you want to experience 5G, you activate the speed booster, and then you speed boost for 1 hour. So that's the only window you need to download all your files, your Netflix offline, your software updates, your Spotify offline playlists.
I hate plans like that. I hate plans that force me to like manage my internet data. I mean, internet is ubiquitous. It's like energy. I shouldn't have to decide like, okay, this 1 hour I'm gonna speed boost. And do what? I mean, I don't have time for that. Like, if I have like 5 minutes, waiting for a meal or waiting for a Grab or whatever,
Yep.
right? And I just want to watch YouTube
Yep.
at like the best resolution I can, then I want it now. I don't want to like go into my plan, activate, blah blah blah, and then
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
It's like,
I
that's
don't
why
like that.
this the probably the worst 5G prepaid plan lah.
Yeah.
And I think you mobile should just come up with this. Give me just one unlimited plan. Like give me like 30 or
Just
40
give me an
ringgit.
add-on, like
Yeah.
like you know how Unify is doing, like just just give me 35 ringgit a month,
Yes,
right?
and then just
for
give me
to,
unlimited, yeah.
to do 5G. But 35 ringgit a month add-on on prepaid is a lot of money.
I mean, just don't do add-on. Just create as a new plan, like how Unify Mobile's doing it.
Oh, so that means I can just pay 35 ringgit a month and access 5G
Yes.
plus 4G.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Unify Prepaid is bebas ma. Like whatever data you purchased last time,
Uh-huh.
you can just carry forward.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
you just
Yeah,
activate
yeah,
pass to get
Uh-huh.
unlimited pass. Yeah.
Okay, and then after that we have
DG.
DG, which has no plans yet, right?
Yeah, so DG, they signed the access agreement, but they have not announced any 5G availabilities yet. So they said that they're still doing some 5G testing,
Yep.
and then they will announce in due course when
What
they
is there
offer.
to test? I don't know. I mean,
Okay, to be
it's
fair,
not anything new. It's not like you're launching a rocket.
Mhm.
5G network has been available for so long. The telcos have been talking to the NB for so long.
they've been. I'm pretty sure they've been doing some testing in the back as well.
Yeah. So, and in the meantime, while that's being done, the marketing people, the product people can already start simulating different products and plans that's ready to go.
Or what can do is maybe offer like how Celcom
Like a
did.
free trial.
Yeah, like Celcom did actually before this announcement, right? I think a few months ago, Celcom actually introduced like a friendly user trial with selected customers and their internal staff to try out 5G. They could do that. Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with DG. So currently, this is the what 8th?
3rd of
3rd
November.
of November. Thursday, DG has no plans, no 5G plans.
Yeah,
at
so
the
there's
moment.
only 4 telcos offering 5G. YTL Communications DS5G, Celcom, Unify Mobile, and U Mobile. Only 4 right now.
And then we have Maxis.
Yes.
What's going on with Maxis?
So Maxis is the only telco that hasn't signed the access agreement. So on the day when everyone announced that, we're going to launch 5G, blah, 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 Maxis issued a statement that they are committed to launch 5G, but they're still assessing the governance requirements of the agreement.
Yep.
Because they feel that I think there's a lot of questions that are yet to be answered, so
Yep.
they haven't signed it yet. And just yesterday, 2nd November, they issued another statement through Bursa, KL Stock Exchange, saying that, based on what they assessed and all that stuff, it is mandatory for them to get the shareholders' approval before they can sign this
Before they
agreement.
move forward. Yep.
Yeah, and they're expecting to settle this by January 2023.
So, if we read between the lines, I think Maxis has been very consistent with their stance. They are having none of this actually. They are not agreeable to, number one, the locked-in pricing of 10 years for whatever that price range is. But I think they put it quite nicely to say that, okay, they still have to answer to their shareholders, and they still have to do their due diligence and governance and stuff like that. And it's not a decision that they're going to make really quickly or hastily, which is interesting because the 4 other telcos suddenly signed the agreement without any filing, or I don't know whether any due diligence was done. It wasn't mentioned. It's just like, okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, since you mentioned that, right? Okay, I'm just looking at Bursa from Axiata. Axiata is the main holding company of Celcom. So
And DG.
DG is a different company, but they're going to be merged soon.
Yep.
So under Section 7 here, approval / consent required, it's mentioned here that the agreement is not subject to the approval of shareholders of Axiata or any other government authorities. However, in view of the recurring nature of the transactions under agreement, which will arise periodically in the course of 3 years from its signing and being transaction of revenue necessary for the day-to-day business of Celcom, Axiata intends, if applicable, to seek its shareholders' approval for a mandate for these reoccurring related party transactions at the general meeting to be reconvened.
So they have a safety net
Yes.
there. So that's interesting as well, because the other operator that has been holding out is Celcom. And we were surprised that they signed as well.
Yep.
Now that it's interesting that they also have a safety net in a way that, okay, if after the free trial period they have to start paying, they have to go back to their shareholders and also do their due diligence before any transaction can happen.
Yeah, so it's like this whole agreement looks like a moving target, right? Okay, you sign first, we discuss the rest later,
Yeah.
So it looks like Maxis is trying to be cautious, like, okay, let's sort out everything one shot.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Maxis is the one that has the biggest cojones when it comes to this, because they didn't bend backwards and they didn't sign, despite the, like I mentioned, the coercing by different parties for all the telcos to sign. Because at the end of the day, this is kind of like a happy ending story for the government to say that they've managed to make this happen. Again, this is not a political blog, not a political podcast, and we're not a political platform. But sometimes it's quite difficult to separate the two. And the general election is looming, and 5G has been a big point of contention. I would go so far as a political tool for people who are currently in the government to kind of make good news stories out of this. On the flip side, this can also be a distraction. It can be like a problem for them, because as you know, we've been talking about this. The many things like the pricing and all that's been locked in, right, raises question on whether this is a project for the people, or is this a money making machine for those who are in power to benefit from. Although we don't have the answers, but it seems suspect. So I want to just give kudos to Maxis for holding to their guns and waiting until January 2023, which is like months after the election, to make a decision.
Yep, anything can happen anyway. So what's the rush?
Yeah, we don't know if a new government forms. Then we could be dissolved for all we know.
And like any other infrastructure projects, right? Things may change after a new government.
Yep.
Yeah, like for example, we see the high-speed rail or whatever, cancel and bring back to the table again. So anything can happen.
Yep. The Penn Borneo Highway still not around. I mean,
it's constantly 90% complete.
It's always building. Don't know what building lah.
Yeah.
But that's one thing.
Yes.
So this could go down that route. My other question is, what about MVNOs? Do they not offer 5G?
So far, not yet. Because right now, in terms of access agreement, I think MVNOs, they potentially can apply for access agreement directly with DNB or via their main principal, like like Celcom, DG, whatever. But so far, no indication yet.
But are they allowed to that? Because I remembered one of the... Oh no, that was DG and Celcom, right? Because one of the things that before the merger could happen was UDO needs to be a separate entity.
Yes, they need to sell it off.
So that's separate. Also, with regards to DNB, the MVNO that's tied to telco, so that's, for example, UDO, if they're still with Maxis, they can just ride on the...
Oh, you still with Celcom?
Yeah, sorry. They can still ride on the networks access, right?
Yeah, because if you think about it, right, all the telcos right now are MVNOs already to DNB. Yeah, so level playing field.
But basically it's subletting. So we don't know whether in the access agreement you can sublet.
I think potentially they could, and also maybe it depends on which better. Is it better to work directly with DNB or you work through another telco? Maybe they have better bulk pricing. Who knows? Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to cover?
Coverage.
Yes. So where can I get 5G right now?
So according to DNB, they right now they say they achieved like 33% population coverage nationwide, and right now you can get it in Klang Valley. In fact, I think in KL, Putrajaya, and Sabarjaya, I think they claim to have 90% population coverage, and also certain parts of Selangor, and also you also can find it in Johor, JB specifically, Ipoh, Penang, Melaka, Seremban, Negeri Sembilan, and also certain parts of Kelantan. That's the locations right now. And the original plan by DNB is that they want to roll out in a very aggressive manner. So they originally, last year when they announced, they want to achieve 40% population coverage by end of this year. By end of this year, 2022, with 4,000 oversights. And the end goal, one of the end goal is to achieve 80% 5G population coverage by 2024. So far, based on what they've reported through MCMC during the Jindal report, they only deployed
30 something
1,900 and 1,918 sites.
So less than half.
Yeah, less than half of the original target. Yeah, and then they're looking. I think they revised the target slightly. So now they're looking. 1,915 sites, 1,915 sites, and now it looks like they revised the target. So they want to achieve 37.9% by end of this year, and the target, they still target, right? The for the size is 3,518. That's a lot of sites to go, man.
I mean, okay, so this is interesting. You can just revise target suka hati, is it? I mean, that's not right lah, right?
Well,
now because you have paying customers, ma.
Not yet.
I mean, you're gonna have paying customers, and for me as a paying customer, not me lah. So let's say like for a telco, I want to see your track record in being able to deliver what you promised.
Yep.
For me to then tell my shareholders, okay guys, don't worry, DNB can deliver. They've already set 40% target by the end of this year. You know what? They've achieved 50%.
Yep.
They set 80% by 2020 what?
24 to achieve 80%. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? They've achieved 100%. Then it's easier for me to go and tell the shareholders, okay, this is a good investment.
Yeah, and this is much faster than doing your own network.
Yeah. Rather than, okay, you know what? So I go to my board, hey, okay, guys, this is what's happening. They've said 40%, but this year they're revising the target to 37%. And then the 80% target, not sure. The board will go like, what the hell, man?
Yeah,
what's going on?
And then what's more glaring is that they promised 4,000 sites by end of this year, but so far it's less than 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So already this is not good.
Yeah.
Track record, right? Let's talk about track record. Deadlines. DNB has been pushing deadlines like nobody's business, number one. Pushing targets like nobody's business, number two. And this network is not yet fully loaded, okay?
Yep.
It's not been fully utilized. So if you ask me, I'm not convinced. I'm not assured that they can deliver.
And that's one of the concerns of most of telcos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the other thing is, you've been on 5G.
Yep.
Does it make a difference?
I won't say much difference. I think it's great if you want to watch, let's say, 4K videos on the go, and then download software updates and download like offline movies and music, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, no big difference.
There's no revolutionary way in terms of the way you use your phone or your internet when 5G comes.
Yeah, the killer app for mobile itself right now, there's none.
Yeah.
I don't see any killer app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like we talked about this before, right? When 3G came, we didn't envision the way we used the internet, like how we used the internet before 3G, right? So
Yep.
back then it was like WAP, and we have like
Video calls.
Yeah.
Which nobody used.
Yep.
Yep.
And then after that we had 4G, and then that gave rise to social media,
Video uploads,
YouTube,
yep.
TikTok, and all that stuff, right? And then it also gave rise to payment channels, right? E-wallets,
And
all that was enabled on the backbone of 4G.
And so the gig economy stuff, like like your e-hailing,
Yep.
food delivery, those are also made possible with 4G.
Yep.
Yep.
5G is not going to change that.
Yep.
Obviously, in hindsight, it's easier to say that, these things happen. When 4G came, we couldn't predict that this will happen.
Yep.
And we can't predict what's going to happen in 5G. But the thing is, it's I think, wrong to expect that 5G will change the way we use our devices, because 5G is not developed for that. 5G is developed for what? For smart cars, smart. I want to say smart computers, but computers are already smart. Smart appliances.
Yeah.
5G enable more devices to connect to the network at the same time.
Yeah, like smart cities, smart manufacturing,
Yep.
sensors, loads of sensors,
Yep.
millions of sensors, and that can be supported on 5G.
Yeah. So it's all in the. The killer application is all in industry,
Yep.
rather than consumer.
But consumer, there's one big benefit though. I think number one would be capacity. Yeah, so at least more devices can be supported at one time. Because like for example, in one area, right, if let's say if 1,000 4G devices are struggling, 5G will open up that capacity to have more devices streaming high bandwidth content. So imagine like New Year's, right? I think more people can upload like videos one shot.
I mean, if you go to
Yeah.
a stadium, for
Yes,
example, and you want to upload stuff and it's jammed up, the network is jammed, it's because 4G can't cope with the access.
Yeah.
5G can allow you to do that.
Yeah.
But that depends on the configuration, on the base station, on whether there's enough, pico cells or whatever
Yep.
to cover the access, the people that's going to access the network. That's another thing altogether.
Yep.
All right. So in a nutshell, the latest development means that 5 out of 6 operators in Malaysia are now able to offer 5G services. 4 of the 5, 4 are now already providing 5G services to customers. All of them except for Digi. Currently, at the time of us recording this, Digi does not have a consumer plan for 5G. I think this will change in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure, but maybe. I
Yep.
mean, Digi should move lah, right?
Yep, correct.
They shouldn't wait. With regards to 5G access, it depends on your operator. Although certain networks you can access 5G, if you take that same phone and change the SIM card, you might not be able to access the network on another operator. So you have to check with your operator on coverage. You have to check with your operator on updates on when your device is being supported for access to 5G on their network. In terms of coverage, we now have about 30 plus 33% population coverage, which is not a lot, to be honest.
Yep.
And most of it is in
Klang
urban
Valley.
center and
Yes.
Klang Valley. So
Correct.
if you are living in a 5G coverage area, good for you. Or if you're working in a 5G coverage area, good for you. But if you're moving around and expecting 5G coverage, not yet. And then that's pretty much it. Right, so I hope we've been able to condense the 5G news in a nutshell for you guys. Let us know what you think. And we're also available on podcast. So if you want to listen to us on podcast, just search for Let's Talk About Searching Chow on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts, and we're there. If you're listening to us on podcast, do give us a 5-star rating because that helps the show. And if you're watching us on YouTube, thanks very much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And your comments and suggestions we would love to hear from you guys and let us know what you think. If you're listening to us on podcast, you can also drop us a voice note at
Let's talk about at soyachinchao.com.
and share us your thoughts in the form of voice. We are more than happy to hear from you guys. All right, that is pretty much it. This is me, Amin.
And this Alex.
Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.